Hello friends, this is Dr. Amarjit Kaur, Professor of Accounting and Business Communication at the Department of Management, Gurugram University, Gurugram. I'm very happy that I'm here with you to talk about work areas in finance. We are going to target or we're going to discuss about the skills which are required for jobs in finance area. For the next few minutes, this would be the agenda, and certainly we will be talking about something more as well. So, what are the skills required for jobs in finance? As we know, the finance is the sector which is growing very fast, right? Finance is the sector which is very promising, which has been promising, which has done wonders, have created maximum jobs, and it is expected to contribute the same number, even rather more number of job in future as well. So I was sharing some data in the past in one of the sessions that about 10 lakhs jobs in only in US would be generated in finance area, and you can imagine the size number of jobs in India, because insurance sector, banking sector in India is growing at the fastest possible rate. And accordingly, if a sector is growing, BFSI sector is growing, certainly, which means it is going to generate jobs as well. So since this is such a promising sector, so people aspire to acquire skills so that they are able to work in this sector. So I am going to discuss that what are the skills which are required to work in finance sector. So I am going to discuss both technical and soft skills which are required for this sector. So number one is accounting skills. So most of the jobs, especially for beginners, are the ones which requires that you have a good, clear sense of accounting. You should be able to know different of debit and credit. You should be able to understand this particular expenditure is a revenue expenditure or OPEX or or capex. You shall be able to understand clearly how to record such expenditure, how to classify those heads of expenses or revenues. So accounting skills including the data entry, including the journal preparation or the trial balance preparation, or being able to use a software to generate accounts and to generate financial statements. So accounting skills are important, and of course you should have a taste in numbers. You should have a taste in working in this area. Of course, only then you will be able to acquire accounting skills, because accounting is not everybody's cup of tea. Believe me or not, I'm an accountant. I am CMA. I teach accounting and I teach financial management both. So I know it is not everybody's cup of tea. So people are always confused between debit and credit, assets and the liabilities and whatnot. So it's not an easy domain, but if you are good in accounting skill, you should certainly hone on those skills so that you are able to get an entry into finance sector, into this particular jobs domain. The second skill is the analytical thinking skill. So, the job of an accountant is, of course, just to, for a beginner, just to enter the records or enter, different heads of revenue and expenses. But that's not all. You as an accountant, if you are not able to think, be out of the box, and you are not able to match that if this is a claim, for example, under this head for this value, and whereas the similar kind of claim for the same volume of business or same volume of activity was there 2 days ago by some other department, and if there's a huge difference in amount, you need to think before you raise finger on that person, that why. So as even as an accountant, right, even as a individual who's analyzing or as analyst, you need to think that why this difference is there. So analytical skills are very, very required in finance area, because you have to be very cautious about releasing funds, reviewing the requirements from various departments and dispersing funds everywhere. So analytical skills are most important for successful accountants. for a successful role in a finance job. So forget about accounting. There are jobs which are finance job, which are, for example, the budget analyst, for example, the risk analyst. So these are the people who need to have analytical skill. Unless they have these analytical skills, they cannot be successful. So this is the most important skill one need to have, even in the beginner, at the beginner level. So third is financial decision making skill. Here, when you are required to share data which is going to be used for decision making. So you shall be able to differentiate that this particular information or data is important for which decision, be it investment decision, be it dividend decision, be it capital budgeting, or the or the financing decision. We need data. So nowadays we prefer to go for informed decision. And who provides that data, who provides the information? The people working in the same finance domain, right? They generate. So financial decision making skill is required. Of course, decision making is something which is required for almost every kind of job, which is in every kind of blue collar job, if I may say so, right? But financial decision making skill is you shall be able to draw decision, you shall be able to draw some inference from the numbers. If numbers are increasing, growing, for example, if you are analyzing the expenditure for publicity of a product, right? So you are an analyst, you are analyzing expense and you are relating the expense on publicity or advertisement with the sales revenue. So you have to have good decision making skill of by using data for that finance value sector. So unless you have a good skill and you are able to relate, first of all you are able to pick up the right variables and then relate those variables, be it publicity and revenue, be it expense of advertisement and the revenue, be it publicity and the number of employees engaged in publicity. Any kind of depth in depth analysis can be done. I'm just quoting few examples. So this is what is the skill which is required by almost every company, that finance guy has that skill to use data for decision making. Not only that, a finance person, be it a treasurer, be it a cash manager, be it CFO, anybody, be it a data entry, data scientist, etc. in the finance, or be it portfolio manager, these are the possible roles. They need management skills as well. So when we say management, we all define management as a somebody who can make a good plan, can coordinate, can organize, then control and motivate. Same thing is, all those skills are required by people working in finance as well. Why? Because finance people are generating data, preparing data for various heads. Marketing guy may want you to evaluate or analyze publicity expenditure or with the sales, whereas the purchase guy would require some sort different data. So you have to deal with management person as well as finance person as well as HR person. Even for budget making, even for day-to-day basis, you have to deal with all branches. Everybody comes up with their request for release of payment, with their request for procurement of funds, etc. Unless you have the skill to coordinate well with them. Most important is coordinate, and then of course once you receive the requirement from them, you need to plan where did you procure them. Here also you need a managerial skill, because you need to deal with the person who is going to finance that project or going to provide you funds with, right? So everywhere, because you are dealing as a finance guy, you are dealing with the outside world as well. You are dealing with tax authorities, you are dealing with registrar of companies, you are dealing with so many people. So management skills are the most important skills required by anybody for that matter, and they are more important for a finance guy because they are dealing with outside agency, they are dealing with government, because they have to do the compliance, etc., etc. Okay, so these are the 4 points here for, which help people to acquire job in finance. These are the 4 skills which discuss. Moving forward, the next skill I would like to talk is financial reporting skill. Sixth one is communication skill. Seventh is investing skill. Eighth is interpersonal skills. So let's discuss these 4, and then I will talk about more skills over and above these 8. So financial reporting skill. This is the kind of skill where the person who is dealing in the finance department has to have the skill that how to present data. Means when we report, we are not reporting only to the government of India or to SEBI or to Institute of Corporate Affairs, for example. We are reporting to people who are our current shareholders. We are sharing reports to people for the use of decision making who are our prospective shareholders, suppliers, all, everybody, even the customers for times. So financial reporting skills are very important, that because we have the liberty to decide to decide which expenditure to be clubbed together and make one group, which revenue to be clubbed together and reported as one. Should we be going for horizontal reports, should we be going for vertical reports? So your skills you should be having such a good skill that data which is presented in the financial statement is comprehensive but yet crisp. It's very tricky what I'm saying, but it is possible. We can make it crispy by just highlighting certain points. We can make it crispy by making footnotes, by having more footnotes than generally being used by people. So our notes could be summarizing, language could be very clear. So we can be very, very careful about the tabular presentation, about the text presentation, about bolding the text, bolding the data, etc., etc. So these all are skills that what needed to be known by whom. Who are the people would like be interested about X head or the Y head? Within that head, for example, sales. Sales could be product wise, sales could be zone wise, sales could be day wise, sales could be quarter wise. So what is this? Just one example of sales, which is the most important part of any business operations, right? So now the finance guy has to report. So it will depend upon that how the data is collated. It could be simply the cost of goods sold, that's it, one head, but that's not enough. That is not going to help, especially to the internal people for decision making. For external people, I can simply report this is the cost of the goods sold, but that is only for the external parties. For internal reporting purpose, for decision making, I need to generate report product wise, area wise, daily, person wise, team wise. If there are 20 teams working, which team was able to generate more revenue? If it is area wise, which area is contributing to the maximum value? Or if we relate expenditure of advertisement with the sales revenue, which particular campaign, which year of that, or which month of the year was that? We can relate it with date, time, team, and this is financial reporting skill only. That reporting is, of course, you are reporting the sales data, but you are grouping it as per the requirement. So this is part of management reporting, management control, or management accounting, you may say, but this is really, really very important. Not only that, the communication skills are also required. You working in a finance department, you have to be precise, clear, and firm. So you have to have the good communication skills as you are coordinating with various departments. So coordination, managerial skills are required. To coordinate effectively, one need to have good communication skill. So that is why this is taken as a very important skill in the finance sector. Then investing skill, as most of the people who are aspiring to work in mutual fund industry, in stock brokerage firm, etc., etc., they need to take a call where to invest, where not to invest, right? So these investing skills, that I can invest in X or Y, I need to evaluate shares, securities, etc., etc. and and this skill is known as investing skill. The person is good, takes timely action, reviews it, supports his or her decision with the help of data or number, does this very objectively, and finally leads to good investment option. So this is the investing skill, that it is not based on just your hunch, your gut feeling. It is based on objective assessment, right? And then the eighth is interpersonal skill. Since you need to coordinate, you have to have very good interpersonal skills. People crib. Our finance department is the worst department, is the most non-cooperative department, and I have heard it thousands of times, believe me or not, everywhere. So because they take finance people as the most rigid people, most non-cooperative people. So finance people can be firm but yet cooperative, yet polite, which is lacking, which is not true. So this interpersonal skill, people are, most of the time people are angry, annoyed with finance people in majority of the organization. So, and this is what I am sharing based on my first hand experience, right? So interpersonal skills are really, really important for anyone to work in finance sector. Moving forward, I want to add another 4 points here. Number 9 is problem solving skill. Number 10 is ethic or the life skills. Number 11 is strategic financial planning skills. Number 12 is project management skills. What are these 4 points? Let me discuss one by one. So problem solving skill. So though it's not that problem solving skill is required only for finance area, it is required everywhere, but the importance of this particular skill, the mindset of solving, is higher, or rather more, in finance. Why? Because here the person is to provide funds on a as earliest as possible, on a click of a button, and he has to decide where to procure funds from. He may not get the funds what he expected to get, and it could be a sudden problem. There could be a sudden issue that you committed something, somebody put up the budget, you approved the budget as a finance guy, because you were expecting to procure from X or Y source, but suddenly that last minute of denial is there from that source. What will you do? You consented to the production team that you will be able to provide X amount to procure funds to the purchase team, for example, but you do not have funds. There's a liquidity crunch at that point of time, sudden. So if you were not able to, there's so many problems. The finance guy, there are organizations who do not have, who have very high amount of profits in their books, but do not have money, cash, to pay salaries. Even that is a problem. So this is happening nowadays in government institutions as well. So the problem solving skills are really required, because you may fail to comply to some XYZ guideline, you may fail to comply certain other guidelines of SEBI or IICA, etc., etc., or the Institute of Chartered Accountants, but these problems need to be solved. Unless you have good skills to analyze the problem, to differentiate relevant and irrelevant aspect of the problem, to reach to the root cause of the problem, you will not be able to solve them. So these are the skills which are required for problem solving and are very important in finance area. Then another skill which we call as life skill, ethics. In finance job, in the area, if you want to wish to work, or if you wish to work in finance sector or area, you need to have very strong ethics, because this is the area where money is dealt with, right? Money flows, inflows, outflows both, and you may come across the people who offer you bribe, you may come across who demands bribe, right? All kind of issues. You may find people who are playing with money and depositing higher value bills and higher value invoices, etc., etc. So unless you are ethical, you cannot deal with all these issues, right? So a person needed to have very strong ethical skills, which is of course required for every job, but they become more important, they become pertinent. If you wish to work in finance sector, you need to be very patient, very calm in listening. A calm headed person is required in the finance, because you need to have a focused approach to review the possible areas of fraud, possible areas of mismanagement of or misappropriation of money. Then we have number 11, strategic financial planning skill. This is required of course at a higher level. If you are working as CFO or senior manager in finance, etc., you need to have to make strategic financial planning. Especially, finance guy is the one who is going to fund every operation, every department, who is going to provide funds when required, who is going to disperse or release fund when required. So unless a strategic planning is done well in advance and thoroughly, with all kind of care and tools and techniques, you cannot be a successful financial manager or controller. So this skill is that you foresee the requirement of funds by making a good, effective, real budgets, right? You plan for the requirement, you procure it at the minimum cost, and then you disperse when required. For all these three things which are part of finance, of course, financial management, of course, you need to be very good in planning all aspect of financial management. This skill is required, that you are able to foresee the future demands and future like payments and receipts both very well. The last skill which I would like to discuss is the project management skill. So here, since nowadays most of the companies that they are working on project basis. So a finance guy, especially from mid to higher level in finance department, need to have this skill, because because unless you have a clarity that how a project work, so you can't manage funds. So project management skills are required by finance guy as well, though there are different people who are working on different projects, but you are the one who is funding that project, you are the one who is deciding at what stage what is going to be released, of course in cooperation with the project head, of course after seeking inputs from them, but you need to learn about that how the projects are managed. So this skill is also required so that you are able to have funds when required, and you do not mess up with holding too much funds, because holding funds in anticipation of releasing them soon is going to be a heavy cost. So we cannot retain so much balance in bank or in hand, because it has a cost. You are using somebody's money, you have to pay the interest, you have to pay dividends. So this is the finance cost. So unless you have a clarity that how project moves, what stages are there in the project, when and where the money is required, if you have clarity on that, you will be utilizing the funds with the right with right mindset, and you will be saving on interest, you will be saving on unnecessary holding of finance or funds. So these are the few basic skills. Of course the most important is to have a analytical skill as well as the accounting skills to begin with, and then rest of all are certainly going to help you as you progress in the hierarchy. You require strategic planning and project management skills as well. So these are the skills. Now the last thing I want to know, in case you lack in certain skills, how can one strengthen the skills required for working in finance sector? So I will give you 4 tips here and then I will wind up. The first is identify your weak areas. You as a person, if you are honest to yourself, if you are fair in assessing your strengths, you will know exactly what are the areas I am weak in. It could be your accounting skill is less, or your people skill is less, or your analytical skill is less. For all the areas are the ones where one can work and improve, can boost, right? So identify your weak area. That is the first tip to improve your skills required for working in finance, or for that matter in any area. The second is earn industry or skill specific certification. If you are going to work in fintech area, you should have that certification in data as data scientist. If you are going to work as an accountant, you should have good knowledge of tally, for example. So they are industry certification. Tally certification is possible, right? There are so many more softwares. If so, this is what is known as industry specific or skill specific certification. The third is practice finance skill in personal life. So it's just that you should not only be providing or gaining certification, you should be practicing them. Finance skills, be it communication, be it management skill or strategic planning, everything is which is required there in finance area is can be practiced in personal life. You can actually implement the same rules or practices to your personal life as well. And the lastly, you can improve by taking internship projects, by going and working as an extern, as an intern at various places before you start working in this sector, right? The best would be, if you intend to work in the finance sector, best you would be during your graduation or master's degree. Nowadays most of the programs they offer internship, there's a mandate to go for internship. So be serious with this internship business. Go work with a company in the finance sector, in the finance department, and learn those skills which you think would be required. This is the best practical exposure, right? So this is how you can improve your skills and can be successful in working in the finance sector. I hope you are able to understand, you were able to gather the skills required as well as how to improve those skills both. So time to sign off, friends. Have a good day. Thank you.